I do want to keep chopping up that situation with the Giants. And I'm not saying it's a majority opinion because I don't think that it is. I think most fans are bebopping along in a normal July haze. We had a holiday week, and everybody's doing their traveling or being with their families or getting a barbecue on if the sun would ever come out or whatever the heck everybody's doing. And you see that the Giants have a bad week and a lot of injuries. And sure, coming home and losing 2 games to the Mariners is incredibly disappointing because the Mariners aren't even really that good this year. But for that to sort of, I think, change the outlook on the rest of the season, to me, is crazy. And I've now had this conversation with at least 4 or 5 people who I would have considered Giants fans.
Right.
And this idea of, now that we're in the month of July, that somehow we've tied buy or sell to belief or disbelief. And if you don't believe that the Giants roster is good enough to win, which I don't even let my mind go there because who cares? That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to root for the team that I root for.
Right.
And I want them to do well because they've won World Series before when they didn't have the best roster. But if you don't believe that they can win it all, you suddenly mean, well, then we have to sell. Those are 2 totally different things. Somebody convince me. Somebody with half of a baseball brain out there. Try to convince either one of us one good reason why you would sell at 46-40 in a wild card spot, a few games out of the lead of the division, and a week removed from running through the division hot knife through butter. I don't get it.
You just wouldn't. And to me, it's 2 different questions because if you look at baseball and you look all around both leagues, you realize that there are 4 teams that are bad. And there are probably 4 teams that are really good. And then the other 22 are all basically the same. You're either a 5-game win streak or a 5-game losing streak away from being in it or being out of it. For the most part, baseball has become largely mediocre, and it's the nature of 162 games. It's hard to really be good for the entire year. You've got the Rays, who are great. You mentioned the Braves in our show meeting. The Braves are the class of the National League.
By far, sure.
And other than that, if you want to look around and look at the D-backs, I'm not buying the D-backs. The Dodgers are good, but they haven't shown it. The Padres should be better than they are, but they're not. And I look at the Giants in terms of the buy or sell conversation. What are you going to sell? If you're going to be a seller, what do you have on your major league roster that you would want to sell that another team would really want to buy?
Yeah.
And I don't think you have anything that you could sell and get any real prospects for. So then if you want to buy, what do you really need? You need a starter. You might need 2. You might need 3. You probably only need 1. And do you want to sell one of your prospects for a guy who's going to come up and start 8 or 9 times?
I mean, I
don't see it.
No, I agree. I look at the Giants roster, and if somebody were to call the Giants, who would they want?
Probably Jock Peterson.
Yeah, Jock Peterson, Wilmer Flores, Alex Cobb, veteran players who are not on long-term deals who could help. There's nobody that's going to land you anybody's top prospect, not by any stretch. Relievers are always really helpful. You know, would somebody want Taylor Rogers? Sure. You know who really wants Taylor Rogers? Giants want Taylor Rogers.
Right.
He's got 2 more years on his deal after this one, and since he threw his glove in the trash, I think he's given up 1 run. Honestly, I think he's given up 1 run since he threw his glove in the trash. He's been fantastic. So, sure, somebody would want those people. Would somebody want a Manaea, a Junis, a Stripling, if they were convinced that they were healthy? But what are you going to get for those guys? You're not going to get anything. The flip side, I think this is where people get worried. They go, you got to sell because you can't buy. You don't want to gut your farm system for this team. Well, I agree with that. Well, nobody's giving up. I wouldn't give up a top 5 prospect in your system.
Right.
But would I give up prospect 14 for a starting pitcher? Yeah, of course. It's like you just said. The Braves are great. Outside of that, I don't see anybody who is markedly better than the San Francisco Giants in the National League. Where's the competitive spirit? Why are you looking at a roster going, yeah, I just don't see it? Because you know what? All the experts looked at their roster in 2010, 12, and 14 and also went, yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. I remember, was it Marvez? It was one of the baseball reporters who got ready for the Giants-Rangers series in 2010 and said Cliff Lee's never lost a playoff game, so the Giants are already down 2-0 in this series. We're still waiting for them to lose the second game in that series.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, I don't know. It's just an odd concept to me that you would look at a team that's sitting in a playoff spot right now and start waving a white flag before we even get to the All-Star break.
That's always interesting to me because you don't do it in football. And if you take this record and you put it on a football team, right now the Niners are 5-4. And they're 5-4, and the leaders of the NFC West are 6-3. So you're a game out in the NFC West, and nobody would be thinking, go ahead and pack it up. Let's get ready for next year. You're done. Or the Warriors would be probably 26-23, 49 games into it, and you're in 5th in the West, and you're thinking, go ahead and fold up the tent. Let's do next year. But in baseball, we look at certain things, and we want to always look for the next year. And what will this team be like next year? Here's an idea. Get in the playoffs now and see if you might be able to get lightning in a bottle again.
This is a classic, and I hate the phrase, as you know, the have your cake and eat it too.
Hate it.
But you get to do it.
You hate it, but you always use it.
I know, because it's just so usable. It's so understandable, even though it makes no sense whatsoever. But this is one of those classic situations. Nobody needs to worry about next year or the year after. Nobody's giving up on the future for the now, especially if you're a fan. You get to do both. Schmidt's here. Matos is here. Bailey looks like he might be a stud. Okay? Keaton Wynn is going to get his reps. Okay? Everybody is up. And so development is happening and contributions are being made. They're going to keep getting their time. They're going to keep getting their reps. That has nothing to do with giving away veteran players in 2 weeks. Nothing at all. And by the way, I also think there's a little bit of a fraternity within sports. And so everybody's got to work together. Sure, executives and players are not always going to see eye to eye. That's normal, bosses and employees. But do you know how offensive it would be to a team that's in a playoff spot at 46-40? Do you know how offensive it would be in the locker room? If Cap walked, okay, everybody sit down. We have traded Alex Cobb. For who? 2 kids named Billy. One of them's 18, the other one's 17. We think they might be great someday.
In 2028.
Do you know how offensive that would be to a team?
That's how you lose the locker room.
Totally. Yeah. They're grinding. They're winning games. They've achieved a lot to even get to this point after the way they started. So... A, it's not happening, but B, it's just I don't know. It's just a concept I don't even understand. I don't even understand it one bit.
But it's people always looking for the future, and, you look at what's happened to Casey Schmidt, 8 for his last 66, and he clearly was a flash in the pan, and you might as well trade him and, trade Matos and trade Doval while you're at it because he got lit up the other night. He's getting stolen on every single time.
Yeah, 888-957-9570. I look at it this way, and I mentioned this to you. I wish everybody could put a sticker on their cheek. You believe or not believe, you get a sticker. Okay? Everybody gets a sticker because if they come out of the break and go win 7 out of 10, and you've got a not believe or a sell sticker on your cheek, you don't get to have any fun. You do not get to join in the party because you want this whole thing to stop and break up right now.